As a futurist, my job is always to say, yes, and what's next? You already know you live in a digital information age. Digital and data technologies have made and will continue to make massive change in our lives. From extracting public health insights from individual health trackers to AI software like DALL-E partnering artists in graphic visualizations. This will undoubtedly continue. And what's next? What's the age after the digital age?
There is no single spot on Earth that does not have an imprint of human activities. From altered CO2 concentrations in the ice cores of Antarctica to microplastics found in the deepest ocean and even the placentas of unborn babies. Humans are affecting everything, everywhere, and today we're seeing extreme weather events around the world that are the result of irreversible changes to global systems. 2022 is the coldest summer of the rest of our lives. Advances in biotechnology enable us to manipulate the smallest forms of life, cells, viruses, DNA strands. This converges with nanotechnology, engineering at the scale of single molecules and atoms. We are tinkering around with life at the molecular level, at the level of cells themselves, to the point where the ability to engineer new life forms is increasingly commonplace. Everything, from molecules to entire ecologies, is being touched by humans in some way or another.
It's clear that the next age is the emerging age of biotechnology, and more broadly, a time of recalibration between humans and living systems. This is the next paradigm for thinking about change and the world, the emerging bioage. We are Jigsaw Foresight, and we're bringing you 3 important stepping stones on the path to the bioage and what they could mean for you, for society, and for the planet.
In the future, your control over your cells is up for debate. The future is genetically engineered. The future is biohacked. Each of our bodies has its unique blueprint, and we're now doing extreme things to it, or other people are. International teams of scientists are already creating chimera embryos, part animal, part human. Even at this early stage, we need to have a dialogue about the ethics of extreme bioengineering and biohacking, and what laws need to be put in place to protect the rights of individuals, be they human or chimera. Who will get to say what we do to our cells, our children's cells, our bodies, at the level of their smallest building blocks? This could become a fraught debate very quickly, and we must all educate ourselves to be prepared for those conversations. Does this sound more like a job for policymakers and political influencers than for you? Okay, think about this. Right now, you can buy a CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing kit and the video instructions to use it. What happens when your neighbour's teenager decides to biohack themselves, or the dog, or the roses, and inadvertently creates a proliferating biohazard? What uses of this godlike capacity to tailor-make life are philosophically and ethically justifiable? Who gets to assess what the costs and benefits are when it's all happening in the shed next door?
In the future, the urban is wild and the rural is on your roof. In the future, buildings are seeded, nurtured, and pruned. The future is grown, not built. When you understand how single cells or single strands of DNA manipulate and direct matter, it opens up the possibility of creating new materials. Pioneers are already innovating organically based bioenergy systems, bioinfrastructure, and bioarchitecture. Biodesign could enable us to create using the adaptive and regenerative principles of living systems, leading to more ecologically benign and resilient houses, infrastructure, and cities. We can already see exciting things happening in collaborations between art, design, and science around new materials, whether it's bioluminescent houseplants, Stella McCartney's mushroom leather handbags, or drawing inspiration from the ancient arts of arbor sculpture to grow entire bridges. What might your house, neighborhood, or city look like if it were less built and more grown? In the future, nature is not othered. In the future, our animal selves rejoice in our ecosystem niche. The Anthropocene is dead. Long live the Symbiocene. The days of viewing ourselves as outside observers of an ecological system are over. We are part of the global ecosystem that we're busy destroying. We are beginning to learn to prioritize all of life over our lifestyles. Around the world, people are starting to acknowledge and fight for equal status before the law for non-humans and living systems. This opens the potential of a symbiotic relationship, a relationship of mutual benefit between humans and nature. Rights have already been granted for elephants, trees, rivers, ecosystems, and landscapes in some jurisdictions. Granting rights for non-humans acknowledges our dependence on nature and grounds our decision-making. This will lead to radical changes in international and local law, with knock-on changes to the global economy. For example, as rights are granted to living systems, questions will arise of liability for damage to the environment, such as climate change or biodiversity loss. Costs will no longer easily be externalized. This is about a fundamental shift in the relationship between people and planet. It's about moving from ownership to symbiosis. This is the shift from the Anthropocene to the Symbiocene. Our research creates a space to explore the kind of future we want to see in light of the data that we have in the present. We help you and your people have that conversation and step into the future.
We are entering a new phase in our relationship with the planet, which will affect culture, society, government, law, investment, and day-to-day life in a myriad of ways. The reshaping of the human relationship with living systems in the emerging bio-age requires a reimagining of the human, the biological, and the in-between. There are new opportunities and new risks. Leaders, business people, all of us need to prepare for the coming era.
We are Jigsaw Foresight, and we never stop exploring change.